Let's go ahead and go over the solutions to the two practice problems that you tried in Chapter 12. The first one is number 11, family reunion, and it reads as follows. At one family reunion, every niece was a cousin. Half of all aunts were cousins. Half of all cousins were nieces. There were 50 aunts and 30 nieces. No aunt was a niece. How many cousins were neither nieces nor aunts? This is a lot to keep straight. We do see that three labels are listed: nieces, cousins, aunts. So that tells us we're going to have three sets. We also know that every niece was a cousin. So nieces should be a subset of cousins. We are also told that half of the aunts were cousins. So that tells us that aunts will be a category that intersects with cousins, but it wouldn't be a full subset. So we have our three sets. We put nieces as a subset of cousins, and we label that with 30 because all 30 nieces would be a cousin, and so we can label that within the niece category. Half of the aunts are cousins, so we intersect the loop of aunts, and we label half of them in the intersection with 25. The other half of 25 would lie on the outside. We want to know how many cousins were neither nieces nor aunts. So that would pertain to the area that shows no intersection with nieces and no intersection with aunts, just this portion. Well, we are told that half of all cousins were nieces, and that's already 30. So we double that, and that would give us 60 total for cousins. 25 of those are taken up with aunts. So you have 25 and 30, that's 55. That leaves just 5 remaining to fulfill to be that 60. So only 5 cousins are neither nieces nor aunts. Okay, the next problem, music tastes. It reads as follows. A group of students were surveyed about their taste in music. They were asked how they liked 3 types of music: rock, country, western, and jazz. The results are summarized below. No one dislikes all 3 types of music. 6 like all 3 types of music. 11 don't like country western. 16 like jazz. 3 like country western and jazz, but not rock. 6 don't like rock. 8 like rock and country western. 7 don't like jazz. How many students were surveyed? Excuse me. So, what I've done, I have written on the right-hand side the more blatant information that was given to us directly that I could use to fill in some of the sections. This problem is a little harder because you're told a lot of not information. So there are multiple steps that are required then to figure out what each little section would be in terms of a number, but we can figure it out. What we do know is that 6 people like all 3 types. So we can label that immediately by putting a 6 at the intersection of rock, country, and jazz. We are also told that 8 like rock and country. So that is indicated by this intersection right here. 6 of those are already accounted for though because they like all 3. So that would leave just 2 who like rock and country. But again, we see that they total to 8. We are also told directly that 3 like country and jazz and not rock. Okay, so those that like country and jazz and not rock, that is just this small little segment right here. And so we go ahead and we put a 3 there. That's the only blatant information we have. So then we have to use some of the not statements to help us determine other information. And I've done that on the left-hand side with some pattern shading. Again, I know that 11 do not like country western. Well, that would be indicated by the lines that are rising from left to right. And you see that I've colored in the portion that is in rock and jazz that do not intersect with country western. Together, that has to total to 11. Well, I also know that 16 people like jazz. So that would be this entire circle. 9 of those are already accounted for. The 16 minus 9 would give me 7. That's going to be those that like jazz and not country. If I know that 11 do not like country, meaning they like rock or jazz, just these portions, then what I can do is I can take 11 minus 7, taking away just those that like jazz, and that will give me 4 that like rock only. So I'm able to put that 4 right here. I know that 7 do not like jazz. I've written in the 4 that only like rock. I know that there are 2 that like just rock and country and not jazz. Altogether, these must total to 7, so that would leave 1 that likes just country because altogether those would add to 7. Now, 6 total do not like rock. So, 6 total do not like rock. Right now, I have 1 that likes only country. I have 3 that like country and jazz. But what about this portion here of those that only like jazz? That would be part of those that do not like rock. And together, all of those have to add up to 6. So that would leave me with 2 that just like jazz exclusively. Now I have filled in every portion of the Venn diagram, so I can determine by adding them all up the total. So I have 4 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1, and that gives me a total of 23 students who were surveyed.